You cannot measure up. You don't have as many followers you have on Instagram. That is great. I will not take away from the fact that you are one of the bigger brands in the WNBA. You are a star in your own right, but you are not Caitlin Clark. It's a difference. Come on, just leave it alone, Angel. And this is why I'm saying you be making yourself look crazy, because in all actuality, there's no comparison between you guys.
What you just heard isn't just fan commentary. It's documented proof of the most calculated territory grab in WNBA history. And the digital breadcrumbs I've been following reveal something that should make every sports marketing exec nervous about what's really happening behind these supposedly coincidental. I'm Jackson Riley, and I specialize in connecting the dots that others miss in WNBA culture. Today, we're pulling the thread on what I'm calling the Chicago conspiracy, because when you filter out the noise and follow the digital signals, Angel Reese's disappearing act during Caitlin Clark's Chicago invasion looks less like bad timing and more like strategic warfare gone terribly wrong. If this investigation into sports marketing manipulation has you hooked, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because the rabbit hole we're about to go down reveals how territorial battles in women's sports are being fought with surgical precision behind closed doors. Let me paint you the picture that mainstream sports media won't touch. August 2024. Caitlin Clark, injured and sidelined, announces she's heading to Chicago for what was supposed to be a low-key appearance. Angel Reese, who has spent months positioning herself as Chicago's basketball queen, suddenly develops mysterious injury concerns, day-to-day status, questionable for games, radio silence from her social media machine.
I don't know how you could ever imagine, like, how can you compete with this?
Now, official sources won't tell you this, but if you follow the digital breadcrumbs, a different picture emerges. The timing wasn't just convenient, it was surgical. While Angel was nowhere to be seen, Caitlin Clark turned the streets of Chicago into her personal fan parade. And here's what makes this conspiracy theory gain traction in online forums. The visual evidence is overwhelming. We're not talking about a small gathering or manufactured photo op. Thousands of people, lines wrapping around city blocks, fans skipping work, bringing their kids, camping out for hours just to catch a glimpse of someone who wasn't even playing basketball that day. The internet dubbed her Queen of the Rack, and suddenly Chicago, Angel's supposed territory, had a new ruler. But the story doesn't end there, because what happened next reveals the sophisticated level of strategic thinking happening behind these moves.
You know, a lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
This is where the conspiracy elements start clicking into place. Angel Reese had built her entire brand around being Chicago's basketball darling. The LSU connection, the local appearances, the social media presence, everything was designed to establish territorial dominance in one of the biggest basketball markets in America. Then Caitlin Clark shows up, injured, not even in uniform, and completely rewrites the narrative in less than 48 hours. The temperature of the online conversation suggests something deeper is happening here. Sports marketing insiders have been whispering about this for months. Was Angel's absence coordinated? Did her team advise a strategic disappearance to avoid direct visual comparison? Or was this a calculated move by Clark's camp to demonstrate market dominance when the competition couldn't respond? If you're starting to see the strategic warfare patterns, drop a comment saying "territory war," because this chess match has implications far beyond just two players.
Angel Reese was not going to be able to bring in the amount of eyes for the sponsors and for the league for him to justify that offer. So Ice Cube's literally saying, we sat down, looked at the actual figures, and the draw wasn't there. The fever wasn't there. Oh, no pun intended.
Now let's get into rumor territory. Nothing is officially confirmed, but the online chatter is too loud to ignore. Multiple sources in the sports marketing world have suggested that Angel Team was aware of Caitlyn's Chicago plans weeks in advance. The timing of her injury designation, the sudden shift from active promotion to radio silence, the convenient absence from any counter-programming, it all points to damage control. Think about the optics nightmare Angel's team was trying to avoid. Caitlin Clark, the player who has consistently outdrawn Angel in every measurable metric, rolling into Chicago and potentially demonstrating superior fan loyalty in Angel's own backyard. The visual evidence of that comparison could have been devastating for ongoing sponsorship negotiations.
Ice Cube has come out and given everybody some brutal truth, and there is a portion of this that just tells you everything that we've been telling you. This is just confirmation. And what's hilarious is this is confirmation from the people that want to pay the money. Sponsors. Oh man, Angel Reese fans are gonna be sorry, Angel Reese. The $5 million offer was only for Caitlin Clark. Oh, fuck. It's about to get ugly. With the Big Three's $5 million offer to Caitlin Clark never coming to fruition, could a lucrative Angel Reese proposal be up next for the Hoops League? Tell me you don't know ball. I mean, honestly, don't count on it.
This is confirmation from the people that want to pay the money, sponsors. And here's where the conspiracy gets darker. Ice Cube's recent comments about the Big Three offer weren't just business decisions. They were informed by data that includes territorial analysis. Who can draw crowds where? Who has authentic regional loyalty versus manufactured buzz? The Chicago incident provided real-world testing ground for these theories. But here's what makes this story even more complex: the psychological warfare angle. Angel Reese has spent her entire professional career defining herself in opposition to Caitlin Clark. Every interview, every social media post, every public appearance gets filtered through the Clark comparison. The Chicago incident exposed the fundamental weakness in that strategy. So what's fact and what's speculation? Let's break it down methodically.
I mean, outside of the fact you can't even get half the amount of people inside a LSU arena.
Fact: Angel Reese was listed as day-to-day during the exact time frame of Caitlin Clark's Chicago appearance. Fact: thousands of documented fans showed up for Clark's non-game Chicago events. Fact: Angel made no public appearances or social media content during this period. Speculation: the timing was coordinated by Angel's team to avoid comparison. Speculation: Clark's team strategically chose Chicago to demonstrate territorial dominance. Speculation: sponsors were monitoring the Chicago situation as a real-world market test. But when you connect these dots, the pattern becomes undeniable. This wasn't random scheduling, this was strategic positioning at the highest level.
What should have been a massive, huge day for your sponsors and for your network.
She is the needle, she dictates, and the Chicago incident proved that. While Angel was hiding from potential comparison, Clark was rewriting the rulebook on sports marketing territorial control. The visual proof spread across every social media platform. The organic fan reaction couldn't be manufactured or bought. This was authentic market dominance being demonstrated in real time. Now let me share something the mainstream sports media won't touch. I've been monitoring the digital conversation temperature around this incident for months, and the business implications are staggering. Multiple marketing agencies have used the Chicago situation as a case study in their client presentations. The lesson? Authentic fan connection beats manufactured buzz every single time.
Happened to Miss Angel Reese. She's all in Indiana during All-Star and her Reebok campaign, come to your trap, take over your personal, but it was business. That's all it is, business. Y'all gonna make it personal though.
The $5 million offer was only for Caitlin Clark, and the Chicago incident was part of the data supporting that decision. Think about it from a sponsor perspective. You have two players, both with strong social media presence, both positioned as rivals. Then, one player demonstrates the ability to shut down a city while injured, while the other player strategically disappears to avoid unfavorable comparison. Which investment would you make? That brings us to the inevitable question: what was Angel's endgame here? If the absence was strategic, what was the alternative plan? If it wasn't strategic, why didn't her team create counter-programming to compete for attention?
You need to stop trying to attach yourself to this girl at every turn, because she have officially come to your trap and taken over your trap. Business of losing money. So of course, Angel Reese couldn't get offered the 5 M's like Caitlin.
You cannot measure up, and the Chicago incident crystallized that reality for everyone watching. But here's where the story gets more interesting. Angel Reese isn't some struggling bench warmer. She's a talented player with legitimate star potential. The problem is that her entire brand strategy has been built around opposition rather than independent value creation. The conspiracy angle reveals itself when you realize that Angel's team might have understood this weakness before the Chicago incident even happened. The strategic absence wasn't about avoiding Caitlin Clark. It was about avoiding the visual confirmation of business reality that sponsors were already suspecting. Official sources won't tell you this, but if you follow the digital breadcrumbs, a different picture emerges about how sophisticated these marketing wars have become. We're not just talking about social media feuds or manufactured drama. This is corporate-level strategic positioning with millions of dollars at stake.
I actually feel bad for Angel Reese at this point, and it has nothing to do with like how she's handled herself or anything. It's just simply Caitlin Clark is so much better than Angel Reese at basketball that it doesn't feel fair.
Yeah, I think Angel Reese is struggling with the fact that Caitlin Clark is better at her best thing than she is.
Well, she's better at everything. And she had a triple-double. She's tied for the third most triple-doubles in WNBA history, and she's played 50 games.
Yeah.
It was business. That's all it is. Business. And the Chicago incident provided the clearest possible business case study. One player can shut down a city while injured. The other player needs to strategically disappear to avoid unfavorable comparison. From a purely analytical standpoint, the choice becomes obvious. But let's dive deeper into the psychological elements that make this conspiracy theory so compelling to online communities. Angel Reese has built her entire public persona around the rivalry with Caitlin Clark. Every major career moment gets filtered through that comparison. The Chicago incident exposed the fundamental flaw in that strategy. When your brand is dependent on opposition to someone else, you're always playing defense. You're always reacting rather than creating. The Chicago situation forced Angel into a position where any response would have been seen as reactive, so the strategic choice became no response at all.
Nobody can be honest. They have to say exactly what y'all want them to say. That's what it seems like.
You need to stop trying to attach yourself to this girl at every turn, because she has officially come to your trap and taken over your track. And that's exactly what happened in Chicago. Clark didn't just visit Angel's territory. She conquered it so completely that Angel couldn't even show up to defend it. The digital forensics reveals something even more damaging. Angel's social media team went completely dark during this period. No posts, no stories, no engagement with the massive Chicago conversation happening across all platforms. In the social media age, silence is often the loudest statement you can make. Now, I've been filtering through the noise, and the signals point to something that should concern every player building their brand around rivalry dynamics. The Chicago incident created a template that can be replicated. Demonstrate superior drawing power in your rival's territory while they're unable or unwilling to respond. It's psychological warfare at the highest level. That brings us to the business implications that extend far beyond just these two players. The Chicago incident has become required viewing in sports marketing courses. The lesson? Authentic fan connection creates territorial advantages that can't be countered with social media strategy or manufactured buzz.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar, not a female superstar. She is a superstar.
We were coming to see Caitlin Clark play.
She moves the needle. The WNBA has been looking for someone who moves the needle.
She's tied for third most triple-doubles in WNBA history, and she's played 50 games. The on-court performance creates the foundation, but the Chicago incident proved that star power extends far beyond statistics. It's about the ability to create cultural moments that transcend the game itself. Angel Reese's strategic absence during this moment reveals the fundamental weakness in building your brand around opposition. When the person you're defining yourself against demonstrates superior market value, your only options become damage control or strategic disappearance. Neither option builds independent brand value. But here's where the conspiracy gets even more interesting. Multiple sources suggest that Angel's team was monitoring social media sentiment during the Chicago incident in real time. The data they collected reportedly informed major strategic decisions about her brand direction for the rest of the season. The temperature of the online conversation suggests that this incident marked a turning point not just for these two players, but for how territorial marketing battles are fought in women's sports. The visual evidence of organic fan loyalty became the new currency for sponsor evaluation. So what's the end game here? Angel Reese still has every tool she needs to build independent star power, but the Chicago incident exposed the limitations of rivalry-dependent branding. The strategic absence that was supposed to protect her brand actually highlighted its fundamental weakness.
Understand your place sometime. Look, they talking about Caitlin Clark took over Angel Reese's trap. See, this is why you don't need to keep trying to take shots at her. She took the city over. Caitlin Clark took over Chicago. She signed autographs for hours. This wasn't no extras that was paid to come stand in the scene. No, these were real people trying to get autographs. Chicago, the queen of the rack, the biggest Barbie.
This is confirmation from the people that want to pay the money, sponsors. And the Chicago incident provided the clearest possible confirmation of market dynamics that had been building for months. One player can create authentic cultural moments. The other needs to strategically disappear to avoid unfavorable comparison. The conspiracy elements become even more compelling when you consider the timing of major brand announcements after the Chicago incident. Multiple deals that had been in negotiation reportedly got re-evaluated based on the real-world market testing that happened during that weekend. But let's not pretend this is just about business metrics or marketing strategy. The Chicago incident revealed something deeper about fan psychology and authentic connection in sports culture. People didn't show up for Caitlin Clark because of her statistics or social media presence. They showed up because of an intangible connection that can't be manufactured. Angel Reese's strategic absence during this moment wasn't just tactical, it was symbolic. When you build your brand around opposition to someone else, you eventually reach a point where any direct comparison becomes dangerous. The Chicago incident forced that reality into the open. The digital breadcrumbs I've been following suggest that this incident marked a fundamental shift in how sports marketing territorial battles are evaluated. Visual proof of organic fan loyalty became the new currency for sponsored decision-making. Social media metrics became secondary to real-world demonstration of drawing power. Now here's what really makes this conspiracy theory stick in online communities: the complete silence from Angel's camp during and after the Chicago incident. No counter-programming, no social media response, no attempt to create competing narrative. In the attention economy, silence is often the loudest statement you can make. That brings us to the million-dollar question. What does this mean for the future? Angel Reese still has every tool she needs to rewrite her brand strategy around independent value creation rather than opposition dynamics. But the Chicago incident created a template that reveals the limitations of rivalry-dependent branding. The conspiracy element suggests that this wasn't just a missed opportunity. It was a strategic miscalculation that provided real-world testing ground for theories about authentic fan connection versus manufactured buzz. The results speak for themselves. But you can be honest. This isn't just about sports marketing or business strategy. The Chicago incident revealed fundamental truths about star power, authenticity, and the psychology of fan loyalty that extend far beyond basketball. When someone can shut down a major city while injured, while their supposed rival needs to strategically disappear to avoid comparison, the market dynamics become crystal clear. So where do we go from here? Angel Reese has every tool she needs to build independent star power, but the Chicago conspiracy revealed the fundamental flaw in opposition branding. The strategic absence that was supposed to protect her brand actually highlighted its limitations. The digital forensics suggests that this incident will be referenced in sports marketing case studies for years to come. The lesson? Authentic connection creates territorial advantages that can't be countered with strategy or silence. Visual proof of organic fan loyalty became the new currency for business evaluation. For Angel Reese, the path forward requires abandoning the rivalry-dependent strategy that led to the Chicago Disappearing Act. Independent value creation, authentic fan connection, and territorial building rather than territorial defense. The conspiracy revealed the weakness. Now it's time to address it. The temperature of the online conversation suggests that fans are ready for Angel to step out of the comparison game and into independent star territory. But that requires admitting that the Chicago strategy was a miscalculation rather than continuing to pretend it never happened. Because in the end, star power isn't about avoiding unfavorable comparison. It's about creating moments so compelling that comparison becomes irrelevant. Caitlin Clark demonstrated that principle in Chicago. Angel Reese's strategic absence accidentally proved the point from the opposite direction. This conspiracy reveals more than just marketing strategy gone wrong. It exposes the fundamental difference between authentic star power and manufactured buzz, between organic fan connection and social media metrics, between territorial building and territorial defense. The Chicago incident created a template that can't be ignored. When one player can shut down a city while injured, while another needs to strategically disappear to avoid comparison, the market dynamics become undeniable. The conspiracy was real, but not in the way Angel's team intended. If this investigation into the sophisticated warfare happening behind WNBA marketing campaigns opened your eyes to how strategic these territorial battles are, let me know in the comments. Are you convinced this was coordinated damage control, or do you think the timing was genuinely coincidental? And if you want more deep dives into the business psychology and strategic warfare happening behind the scenes in women's sports, subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the digital breadcrumbs reveal patterns that mainstream sports media won't touch. Thanks for following this investigation with me. The Chicago conspiracy exposed more than just strategic miscalculation. It revealed the fundamental dynamics that determine authentic star power versus manufactured buzz in the social media age. And those lessons extend far beyond just basketball.